If you have been following this series, you have likely reached what I call the practical pivot. You understand labels better now. You can spot sourcing language. You have moved past most of the fear of the unknown. But then you are standing in your kitchen, looking at a package of raw food, looking at your dog, and the most basic question hits you like a wall. How much of this actually goes in the bowl? Not the theoretical amount printed on the label, not the perfect amount a stranger online suggested, but the correct starting point for the living, breathing animal in front of you. In the kibble world, we're taught to rely on plastic scoops. In the raw world, we rely on biology. Today, I'm going to give you the simple math to stop the second guessing. By the end of this video, you won't just have a number, you will have a framework. You won't feel like a nutritionist, but you will feel capable. Most feeding anxiety doesn't come actually from the math. It comes from context switching. For decades, pet owners have been trained to feed by volume. We think in cups, scoops, bowl size, but kibble is an industrial product. It's expanded with air, stabilized with starch, built for shelf life. Raw food is a biological product. It's dense, it's heavy, and it contains far more moisture. So when you switch, your brain will tell you the protein looks too small. I'm starving my dog. And that's the trap. If you apply kibble logic to raw feeding, you tend to overfeed. And overfeeding leads to digestive upset, loose stools, weight gain, and the false conclusion that raw didn't work. So we're going to reset the frame. We are not feeding for fullness. We are feeding for fuel. Here's the anchor for everything we do moving forward. You are not feeding a recipe. You are feeding a percentage of body weight. In clinical practice, we don't start with calories. We start with the dog's ideal adult weight. This matters. If your dog weighs 60 pounds, but should be 50, we do the math based on 50 because feeding is not about preserving the current number. It's about supporting the healthiest version of the dog. For most healthy adult dogs, your baseline range is 2% to 3% ideal body weight per day. That's your North Star. It's where most dogs thrive. Let's make this concrete. A really useful middle starting point for most adults is 2 to 2.5%. Here are three examples. Small dog that weighs 10 pounds at 2.5% per day, that's 0.25 pounds or 4 ounces total per day. If you feed 2 meals, that's 2 ounces per meal. For a medium dog, that's 50 pounds at 2.5% per day, that's 1.25 pounds per day. That's divided by 2 meals, that's about 0.6 pounds per meal. Larger dog, 100 pounds, you're looking at 2.5 pounds per day, which divided over 2 meals is 1.25. That's the whole baseline math. Wait, doctor, shouldn't I be tracking every calorie? In a research setting, yes. In your kitchen, usually no, not at first. Raw food tends to have higher bioavailability, which means your dog's body uses more of what they eat. So a simple weight-based percentage is a surprisingly effective and reliable starting point. If you later need fine-tuning, weight loss, deal with medical issues, if you have a performance dog, that's where calorie tools become more important. But to start, the percentage rule works. Now, here's the part that prevents the biggest mistakes. The first month is not about perfection. It's about calibration. I want you to treat the first 30 days like this. Choose your starting percentage, hold it steady, watch patterns, not moments. What not to do in the first 30 days is you don't change the amount daily. You do not adjust based on one stool. You do not panic if the ball looks small. Don't add 3 new variables at once. Raw feeding rewards steadiness and consistency, not reactivity. Here's the simplest calibration rule. Hold your baseline for 2 full weeks, then adjust in 10% steps if needed. Not 50, not doubling or cutting in half, just 10%. This keeps you calm and keeps your dog digestive system stable. Now we have to talk about the exception to the about 2 to 3% rule, which is puppies. Puppies are metabolic furnaces. They are not maintaining a body, they are building one. For growing dogs, the range jumps from 2% to 5 to 8% current body weight, depending on the day. And that changes quickly because their weight changes quickly as well. Here's the very important vet note. Puppies don't just need more food, they need balanced food. Growth depends on adequate protein, appropriate energy, and mineral balance, especially calcium and phosphorus. This is the one area where eyeballing it carries the most risk. So if you're feeding a puppy and the shifting math feels overwhelming, I have built a calorie feeding calculator at drghunaim.com. It's there to act as a safety net so you can enjoy your puppy instead of doing algebra at 6 a.m. A chart is a starting point. Your dog is the reality. Once you pick your baseline, say 2.5%, you adjust these three levers. Number one, activity level. A couch potato bulldog and a working border collie do not have the same needs. The spay neuter factor. Many altered dogs have a slightly slower metabolism, not always, but often. They may do better closer to 2% unless activity is high. Environment plays a huge role. Cold winter weather, outdoor time, high output, these increase energy demands. So if your dog is burning fuel to stay warm, that matters. How to adjust without spiraling? You do not adjust based on one day, you adjust based on trends. Here's what I tell clients. Check your dog once a week. Same day, same time. If they look a little soft, reduce by 10% next week. If they look a bit too lean, increase by 10%. Calm, measured, and predictable. I want to prepare you for the first time you put raw food in a bowl. You are going to look at it, then look at your dog and feel guilty. Don't. Kibble is roughly 10% moisture. Raw food is roughly 70% moisture. Kibble also contains starch and fiber bulking agents that create volume but do not provide the same biological nutrition. When you remove the fluff, the portion shrinks. But here's the evidence that matters. If your dog's energy is stable, their stools are small and firm, their coat is improving, and their weight is steady, that's your confirmation. A smaller bowl is often the sign of a more efficient engine. Feeding raw is not a clinical trial, it's a relationship. You do not need a jeweler's scale. You do not need to hit the exact gram every day. In the wild, animals do not eat the same exact amount every time or every 24 hours. They balance over time. Your goal is consistency, not perfection. You are on track if you can feel the ribs easily like the back of your hand. Energy is leveled. No midday crashes. Stools are formed and easy to pick up. Weight trends are stable over weeks. You now have the formula, the baseline examples, the calibration phase, and adjustment levers. If you want help estimating a baseline, the calorie calculator is at drghunaim.com. And if you want calm guidance without overwhelm, my newsletter is where I break this down step by step in a way you can actually apply. In the next video, we'll take this math and turn it into a meal. How to build raw meals simply without getting overwhelmed. I'm Dr. Ghunaim. Thank you for being the kind of owner who chooses to be thoughtful rather than reactive, one step at a time.